Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling. You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Hello, and welcome to another special edition of League to the Max, or whatever. There it is. I knew he was going to laugh.
We are using that title.
I knew he would laugh. My name is Bryan Espinosa. I am joined by no other than the disembodied producer of this show and my good friend, Mr. Eric Watkins. How are you this afternoon, sir?
I'm feeling fantastic. You know, all of this and us going earlier is helping me catch a break. But how many times did I warn you last episode about things happening just like the way they happen today?
Oh, no. I'm fucking excited, man. Like, North America, the group of death. It's the fucking group of death. And North America pulls the needle out of the goddamn haystack. By the way, there's going to be a lot of profanity on this podcast today. the North America pulls the needle out of the goddamn haystack. Literally. Let's go to some numbers. Let's just go to some numbers, right? So the way that it shakes down today is you effectively have 2 to the 6th power. So that's 64 ways for the groups to end at today, right? And that's for all of the groups moving forward, right? Cloud9 has had, we'll say has, because we're not at the results yet. Cloud9, and you can do you have that link I sent you earlier with the little flowchart thing? Let's get that up on screen for folks so they can see what we're talking about. Maybe a little bit of visual makes this easier. But Cloud9 has a 2 and 64, so you can simplify that. We're mathematicians here, or at least some of us are. This network and mathematicians, I swear. Simplify that down to 1 in 32, right? That is, if you put that into percentage, that's 1.56% of 1 in 32. Wait a minute. No, I did that math wrong. See, I'm not the mathematician. You can tell. Yeah, no. So there's 2 in 64. That's 1 in 32. It's about 3% roughly, right? Cloud9 has a 3% chance out of all of the games, not just their own, out of all of their games, of getting a favorable group outcome. I put out a tweet this morning, right? And I made my predictions. And I'm in a Discord server with some folks talking about the games. And they're like, Bryan, you are on goddamn copium. Like, you are on the giga hyper copium. Like,
oh no, we even talked about that last night on another podcast when you mentioned it. I'm like, really? You really? Well, I'm the one sitting here with the egg on my non-existent face.
Yeah, no, I'm on. Yeah, we're sitting here on some. They're like, no, you are on some gigacopium. There's no way in hell that Cloud9 is going to go 3-0 and FPX, the 2019 defending champions, or the 2019 World Champions, excuse me, are going to fucking go 0-3 on the day. Especially when they get to play Rogue. No, you're nuts. Absolutely nuts. Well, you know what? I put the tweet out there, and in incredibly fantastic fashion, I was 5 for 6. The only one that I got wrong, which I even covered for in my tweet, and we talked briefly about how that would shake out, was the Cloud9 Damn One Gaming Damn One Kia game. Damn One Kia did go 6-0 out of the group. But we ended up because Cloud9 only lost to them, and Rogue did manage to only beat Fun Plus Phoenix. It was the perfect storm. It really was. I had said it. I said it before. I said, look, Cloud9 goes 3-0. Fun Plus Phoenix doesn't show up, and Rogue has to beat Fun Plus Phoenix to give C9 a chance at a tiebreaker. Right? And guess what? It all happened. It all happened. Well, Cloud9 didn't 3-0. That's okay. They had the possibility to get out even if they lost a damn one. And that's only because Rogue won. So you know what, EU, we owe you a little bit of gratitude on that one. Thank you.
I mean, to be fair, I said the main possibility of how Cloud9 would have won that one is if they were sitting 0-5 looking for their only win of the group stage, and that would have been the situation for the monumental upset. So,
well, they were 1-5, or they had beat C9 coming in out of the end of the first round robin, right? So basically, they had to just completely whiff today. But we really needed the tiebreaker. That was really the only way Cloud9 even had a possibility of getting out. It was tiebreaker or win all 3 games. And we had a 3-way tiebreaker. It was FPX, Rogue, and Cloud9 3-way tiebreaker at 2 and 4. So Fun Plus Phoenix and Rogue seeded in first. I correctly predicted that Rogue would win that tiebreaker, and then they went on to play Cloud9 again, and I predicted Cloud9 would win, and I'm pretty sure that game took 10 years off of my life.
I've been there.
With the amount of near heart attacks and shaking and palpitations and God knows what else. Oh my Lord, that's gonna go down. First of all, it was it is the longest game on record so far. It was I think it was like 52 minutes or something like that. I don't remember.
Dear Jeebus.
It was long. We thought Fnatic, RNG kind of just stalling each other out last week was bad. No, this was, oh man.
Well, I mean, in a sense, win or go home.
Yeah.
Quarterfinals on the line, I can understand from a tactical perspective.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Cloud9 1.56% chance. 1.56% chance. They quite literally defied the odds. But Cloud9 comes out at 3 and 4, and they are moving on to the quarterfinals. A North American team. Just let that sink in for a moment, right? A North American team in what everybody said was the group of death upsets a world championship team in FPX. They live up to the North America greater than EU hype and meme, right? And manage to get out of their group, which with Damn One Kia in that group, and honestly, we thought Fun Plus Phoenix was going to be tough too. Still, even with FPX choking, still one of the toughest, really the toughest group, at least on paper. And it got upset by Cloud9, a team that, mind you, is the best international performing team in North America. You want you want international results, you go to Cloud9. They've had the deepest runs at Worlds. They make shit happen. And what did they do today, my friend Eric? They made shit happen. And I don't know how I predicted the chaos. Oh, no. I know how I predicted chaos correctly. I got to quote Kobe in not the basketball Kobe, the caster Kobe, the shoutcaster Kobe. League of Legends has its own Kobe. To quote Kobe, I never doubted him. I never doubted him.
You were about the only one who never doubted them. I'm here to say that.
Like, at this point, I don't know what LOL Esports on Twitter is going to do if C9 keeps winning games. Because right now, Fudge is the size of goddamn EU.
So, okay,
there's a meme. I'll have to. I have to. I'm gonna pull up the meme here because I feel like I have to fill you in.
Okay, so going in, one part of it looking back, because this was one thing that stuck out to me as far as with the group days here. This was a lot to pull off because their tiebreaker, this was Cloud9's fourth game today.
Yeah, they played 4 games and 2 of them were back-to-back.
And for that one alone to go nearly an hour.
That should show you that that Cloud9 has... I don't know what the hell Fudge ate for breakfast, but somebody get the man a goddamn Wheaties sponsorship. Like, seriously.
Okay. You're a bit of a hockey fan, right?
Yeah, if I follow hockey.
Does the name Daryl Sittler ring a bell?
Bell, yes. I'm not placing it, though. The name sounds familiar.
Toronto Maple Leafs. He was a captain late 70s. Played just about his entire career for the Toronto throughout the 70s. 1976, February 7th to be exact, he was running late for the game. This was at home, Maple Leaf Gardens against fierce Original Six rival Boston. Now, normally with his pregame routine, he has like a nice steak or whatever, doing as he does, but he ran late, so he had chicken and fries. What did he do on the ice that night? A second period hat trick as part of a 6-goal, 4-assist performance and a thrashing of the Bruins. His 10 points that night is still, to today, the single-game NHL record. Sometimes you have those days when you're in the zone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that's what it was, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, when you said Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm like, that's the single-game scoring record, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Fudge had one of those days, man. He got Cloud9 drafted him got him on the right picks, got him on the right carries. The team just looked on absolute form today. I don't know what else to say here. Like, there's very little that you can kind of tear into at the moment here. Like, Perk showed up and carried, Blabber showed up and carried, Sven and Vulcan didn't feed. I mean, everybody was saying NA was going to be on their way to the airport, and NA world record holders any percent airport, no hacks. But that ain't the case right now. The life buffs and the music video buffs and everything else is those ain't working. Like I said, if you scroll down on that image, you'll see it's a chain of tweets. It started. If you go all the way back, it started because Fudge is a lot taller than Laura, right? Who is one of the interviewers for Riot. And so they made a meme out of it. And this is going like all the hell the way back to like last week, right?
I'm seeing this.
But
yeah, this is tracking. Then
but yeah, right now, if Cloud9, to keep going, he's gonna get bigger than the goddamn Milky Way. Like you're just gonna see a picture of Fudge superimposed over the fucking Milky Way galaxy.
And this is my point. And this is what I kind of want to do in a brief kind of looking forward. How will do the quarterfinal matchups as far as groups go? Because if I'm looking at this and I'm thinking how they would traditionally do it in a tournament,
I believe we're going to play whoever comes out of Group C.
Okay. Because I know normally they would have
it's either, I want to say it's, hold on, I'm checking.
No, because I think it would be the winner of Group D. If I'm remembering these setups right.
Nope, it is Group C because everybody's talking about us going up against PSG Talon next. That's the running meme. Is I even tweeted about it. I thought it was a pretty good tweet. I'm going to pull it up here and I'll show it to you. I'm getting a lot of engagement on Twitter today.
I mean, when you have a big day like today, it's ripe for it.
This is the Cloud9. I've posted the Cloud9 checklist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since we're going back to hockey, the keys to the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
C9 makes it to groups after losing to DFM. Check. C9 beat both Rogue and FPX. Check. C9 wins North America's first ever tiebreaker to make it out of group stage. Check. Now we got to go beat PSG Talon in the quarterfinals.
I mean, A, crazier things have indeed happened. B, everybody talks about me when I have my different conspiracies. Sometimes the patterns just lay themselves out for you.
But yeah, no, there's that's the checklist. That's the keys to the tournament for Cloud9 right now. But let's pull up the bracket permeator here. I'm going to send you the link again in case you don't have it.
Yeah, because I would have to go back, and Discord would be a pain here on the laptop.
But I also do want to point out some other numbers and statistics while we're kind of on the numbers topic. So we walked into today, right? You said I was doing just a little bit better than a coin flip. 14 for 24 correct predictions.
Mm-hmm.
For a 58.3% pick rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? I'm doing a hell of a lot better than a coin flip now.
I would say so, given the numbers that you sent me. You bounced back with a vengeance.
Yeah, if you include today's tiebreakers, which I do have, I did throw a prediction tweet up before they got into the first one, and going by total games played in the group stage so far, I got 7 out of 8 correct, and that would give me a 65.6% accuracy rating. If you don't include the tiebreakers, we're 5 for 6, which gives us a 63.4% accuracy rating.
Either way, that kind of a territory, you would be considered a Vegas sharp. Either way.
Yeah. I had a couple of bad days on that first round robin, but these groups, I got the lock on the groups, man. But let's scroll down here. We'll go over to Group B, right?
Okay.
And we're gonna take a look at some predictions, right? The biggest thing I really want to focus on here is I actually want to talk about T1 first, right? Because I really want to see T1 come out of this group.
Okay.
And the reason why I want to see T1 come out of this group is because I think it makes for a great narrative. I think it's going to make for some great League of Legends. It's Faker's return tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Faker, 3-time world championship. He's lost. He's gone through hell and back trying to get here in the past couple of years. Now he's back. Now he's got something to prove. He's got to remind people why he's the GOAT. Like the undisputed GOAT.
So far, I'm getting this. I'm with you.
So right now, at the end of the first round, Rob, you can see it up there at the right under the T1. They lost to EDG, and they beat DFM and 100 Thieves, right? So right now, the green dots are looking pretty good. Even if pretty much the only way they don't move out of this group, honestly, is if they lose the next 3 games. And even then, if you click on that first little orange dot right there, you actually click on it. There you go. It will show you if you scroll down just a tiny little bit, or maybe we can make that bigger. You can pull me off of the screen there and throw this full screen. You can see at the bottom there.
Yeah, and even in hovering over, because
it'll tell you the dot. Yeah, it'll tell you what needs to happen, right? So pretty much, if they lose the next 3 games, they're done, with one crazy exception, and that requires DFM taking a win. Or sorry, that requires DFM going 2-1 tomorrow. That requires DFM going 2-1. And that's specific.
If I'm reading this left to right, those are in games in the order of which they were played?
Yes, that'll be the games in which they're going to be played tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, boy. Alrighty.
Yeah. So you can click on that and it'll reset it. Or click on any of the dots and it'll reset it. So the worst case scenario, there's a couple of I mean, you see some red, that's not good, but overwhelmingly for T1, it's all green, right?
Yeah. Obviously, green is you go through, red is you're done, yellow means tiebreakers.
Yep. And here, this tool actually factors in 2-way head-to-head tiebreakers automatically.
Okay.
So like, for example, if you click on, if you just hover over any of those T1 games, you'll see it'll say T1 first seed, EDG advance. That means that there's a head-to-head tiebreaker. Because if it's a 2-way tie, they're just going to break it by game time.
Yeah.
Or not game time. They're going to break it by head-to-head record. If it's a 3-way tie, then we get tiebreaker games. So 2-way ties, unfortunately, we don't get extra games. I wish we did, but...
Now, but correct me if I'm wrong. Even if it was a 2-way tie, granted, a 2-way tie for the top spot, you can break that by head-to-head because both teams would advance. But I would think a two-way tie for second place, they would have to break that with a tiebreaker.
The two-way tie for second, they'll settle it by head-to-head.
So if head-to-head is tied, if they split,
if they split, then I believe it goes to a game. Let me.
because I'm seeing in these scenarios where they have, like, with some of these yellow dots, they have it. Like, say for this one, I have over and over. EDG first seed, DFM last place, T1 and 100 Thieves tie.
Yeah.
So,
And then that'll, if you click on it, it'll probably highlight it in yellow. Yeah, it highlights it in yellow, which means it goes to a tiebreaker game. The tiebreaker rules are slightly confusing.
basically, and I've seen this in other forms of other tournaments, if special considerations for advancement in the tournament are necessary, if both teams are eliminated, no need for it. If both teams advance, no need for it. But like we were discussing with the play-ins, difference between first and second, or second
yeah, I was
and
gonna
fourth.
say here they will tiebreaker even if it's for first, because and the two tiebreaker teams are guaranteed to advance because that seeding depends on who they're playing in quarterfinals.
Ah, so basically, first and second, top two, and then second and third would matter, but not a third and fourth.
Yeah, because because Cloud9 took the second seed in the group. They're playing PSG Talon instead of whoever comes out of Group D. Or sorry, they're playing PSG Talon, which is the first seed of Group C, rather than them playing. They're getting a tougher matchup rather than
Right.
them playing the second seed, I believe, out of Group B is going to be for it's either Group B or Group D. For damn one. And I want to say it's Group B. Which, if it is Group B, that's great, because more than likely that means we get to see them play T1, which is going to be some. It's Korea versus Korea, sure, but it's going to be some good League of Legends. But let's take a look at some stuff, right? So, first of all, I kind of want to talk about this little tidbit here that they've thrown up here. Let's click on that single scenario, that 1.5% chance.
This one right here?
Yep, that EDG leaves and gets knocked out, right? So let's see what has to happen for this to occur, because this would be about as big of an upset as not even as big. This would be as big of an upset as Cloud9 moving into quarters today. So EDG has to lose. They have to go 0-3 tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say impossible to happen, but I mean, we saw what happened with FPX today. So anything is possible in this tournament. EDG has known to magically choke in years past on the world stage. So sure, they got the 3-0 record, but they may end up 3-3. Now, if let's see, okay, so T1, right? Actually, we'll go to the bottom here. We'll read the games off as they're in order. So first game of the day, DFM, our Japanese team, they have to hit the gate running, right? They got to get their one win of the tournament of group stage against EDG. That in alone in and of itself is going to be an upset. Let me tell you. because as much love to our Japanese friends and viewers, your team's not looking so hot in the group stage. Um, it's clearly, I think it's just the level of competition is not something that they're used to. They're not expecting. I don't know if they're 100% sure how to play against it. Maybe this time off that they've gotten it has helped. I mean, clearly it helped Cloud9. Um, stranger things have legitimately happened so far in this tournament. I get to say that for the rest of the fucking tournament, and I love it.
Yeah, you can. And all of this, and to think, because I was double checking, after the final day of the group stage, which would be in a couple days,
Be Monday.
then they do the on-stage draw.
Yes,
So
they seed everybody for. Oh, that's right. They don't auto seed. They do quarterfinals, or they do bracket draws.
yeah, so just so like for the knockout stage of the Champions League over in Europe, you have your group winners seeded in one pot, your group runners up seeded in a second pot,
Yeah.
matchups pot 1 versus pot 2, all the way down.
And I think they still do the no two regions can face each other rule.
I believe that would make sense because they do the same thing in Champions League. No two teams from the same association can play each other in the round of 16, but in further rounds it doesn't matter. So you wouldn't be able to do that in the quarterfinals, but for the semifinal and the final.
Oh yeah, no, obviously
Yeah.
that's impossible. But yeah, no, when that's Riot's like big seeding like group draw rule is whenever possible, no two teams from the same region shall be in the same group or the same pool. Which is pretty easy when they start that rule from the beginning. But all right, so breaking this down, right? So DFM has to come out like swinging, like the bull in a china shop, getting ready to take down the matador in Spain, kind of like just 125%. 100 Thieves has to win out over T1. That I actually think is feasible, right? Because when 100 Thieves played T1, T1 just barely edged it out. Like that was a very close game. So I think 100 Thieves, just like Cloud9 did with FPX today, they're going to come back. They're going to say, all right, we got your number. We know what you did last time. We're going to finish you off good this time. We're not going to let this go to we're not going to let it become, a matter of a coin flip. T1 has to beat EDG. This gets interesting, right? Because T1 is a great team. They're world champions. The current roster, this is going to be a test, right? This is if they lose to 100 Thieves, this is where you get that test of how well can they bounce back from a loss, recoup the mental state, and then take down one of the favored the favored team in your group and one of the favored teams in the tournament, right? Do I think T1 is capable of it? I think if they've got Faker shot calling, which I believe they do, and if I think Faker rallies his troops on this one. Because if anybody has been in this situation the most, it's been Faker, right? He's got to tell these guys, is like, look, it's just groups. It's one loss. It's not the end of the world. We can still get out of this group. Let's make some shit happen, right? So they bounce back. They take out EDG. Is that going to be a surprise to anybody? Well, 2 losses in a row, that becomes what our lovely caster friends call a worrying trend. Then we move on to 100 Thieves versus DFM. They've already beat them once. I think they can beat them twice. DFM beating out Edward Gaming is going to be the fluke. It's not going to be continued. 100 Thieves takes that win. They then lose to they're on, mental tilt. I don't think they reset. They lose to T1, who's now got momentum after beating EDG. They think they're unstoppable. And then 100 Thieves wins out, and they 3-0 the day versus EDG, right? Which puts EDG, they lose all 3 of their games. That'll put 100 Thieves with 3 wins, right? It means they went 3-0, so they will go to 5-1 in that, or sorry, they will go to 4-2. No, sorry, 5-1. I was right. Yeah, because they're
Wait, you're talking about
no. They lost 2, so
yeah,
they
so
picked
they
up
would be
3. So
4-2.
so they go to 4-2. I was right. Okay, so they go to 4-2. T1 would be 4-2 because they also, or sorry, they would be. They win. Or sorry,
T1.
they lose 1 game, so they go 2-1 because there's 3. Every team plays 3
So
games.
there would be T1 would be 4-2 as well.
Yeah, so they advance. They'll pull the tiebreaker out and figure out who gets the seeding. But EDG would be 3-3, which does not beat 4-2. They get eliminated, and DFM is in last place, which also gets them eliminated. That's how EDG goes home, right? Now let's talk a little bit more realistically, and I'm going to go into my picks for tomorrow here, right? So we'll reset this here. You can actually click on the team names at the bottom there, and it'll highlight this as we go, right?
All right.
So tomorrow we got DFM versus EDG, right? If DFM pulls this out, it's the upset, right? It's probably the upset of the tournament, behind Cloud9 getting out of group stage. I don't think they can do it. I'm sorry, I love our Japanese counterparts, but I go to EDG on this, right? Which means that puts DFM out of the tournament almost automatically, right?
Yeah, they would only have
they're
one
quite literally
scenario.
Yeah, they're literally down to one scenario, and that's that we're at that 1.5% chance. Again, stranger things have happened. That's kind of how Cloud9 won, but even then, they got to win a tiebreaker, and that's a lot of games. That's a lot of exhaustion. Let's go to T1 versus 100 Thieves, right? Like I mentioned before, Faker's going to come in. They're going to rally the troops, but I think 100 Thieves has learned from that game earlier in the week. It was close. T1 barely won it. I think 100 Thieves come in and show T1, show Faker who's boss, remind people the same thing that happened last week when T1 lost to EDG, that a god can bleed. So let's stop here, because now at this point we're a third of the way through the game, or a third of the way through the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at where we are as far as scenarios go. If EDG and 100
EDG.
Thieves still have the possibility to win all 3 of their games, right?
Mm-hmm.
For 100 Thieves, it looks pretty damn good if you go 3-0 today. There's only one scenario that's still on the board currently, that they win, they go 3-0, and they somehow don't make it out. Like, they have to go to tiebreaker, and then there's a possibility they don't make it out. EDG, they're pretty much locked at this point, right? With the win over DFM, they've almost got Group A locked. There's only one scenario in which, at this point, they have to go to tiebreakers. DFM, as we said before, one scenario where also tiebreakers. T1, though, this is where it's interesting for T1 right now after they take that first loss, right? Because they can't win all three and get the guaranteed advancement. So now they're in some really colorful territory here. I mean, look at that. There's a pretty even distribution of green, orange, and red there compared to these other teams.
Pretty even. It's split across the board. 5 scenarios where they're in, 5 scenarios where they're out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 scenarios where it's a tiebreaker. You can't get any more even distribution than that when you're dealing with a power of 2.
Yeah. So T1, this is, like I said, this is where Faker has to fucking step up and say, look, okay, we lost 100 Thieves. That's fine. We still got this. We still have a significantly positive chance of getting out of this group. Really, the only way T1 doesn't fuck up, or the only way T1 fucks up, is if they lose all three, right? I know there's a couple of red scenarios where if they only take one win, they're screwed as well. But overwhelmingly, losing one game seems to be okay for them. Now, let's move on to this EDG T1 game. Important for T1, nobody cares about EDG. EDG, like I said, they've got this on lock, right? I'm going to call the upset here. Because I think Faker walks in the door, says, hold on, you're Ryu, you're going to die. Look at the cleanse, look at the moves. Faker, what was that? And T1 will take the win. Now this group gets really interesting. Because that means that EDG has taken a loss. The only team that can 3-0 now today is 100 Thieves, right?
Mm-hmm.
They win their next 3. There's a scenario where they advance, and there's a scenario that they go to tiebreakers. EDG, we now have this outlier on the board here where they may have to play tiebreakers, which would be weird. It would, and if you hover over it, it's a 3-way tie.
Yep. like we haven't seen one of those already.
Now, the good news for T1 here, they have significantly improved their chances of getting out of this group if they take this win. Almost all of that red disappears off the board except for one scenario. They've got 4 scenarios where they advance, 3 scenarios where they tie, and 1 scenario where they lose. 1 out of 8, that's pretty good odds if you ask me. Or pretty crappy odds of happening, if you ask me. 7 out of 8 to have a shot at advancing, that's good odds. Now, at this point, if T1 win, DFM are done, right? Like that puts the nail in the coffin 100% for DFM. Because if EDG win, there's a possibility that they still have that one tiebreaker, right? But no, T1 wins, that locks DFM out to 4th. It makes things interesting for 100 Thieves because suddenly you look at this, you look at 100 Thieves here and the current scenarios they have on the board. There's only one good scenario they have left. The rest are coin flips and tiebreakers, and there's overwhelmingly more red on the board than there is yellow or green. Actually, it's just barely, but still.
Well, in this case, 100 Thieves is in the exact opposite situation of T1. All the probabilities are reversed.
So, So let's move on. We're gonna take a look at 100 Thieves versus DFM, right? This is a no-brainer. 100 Thieves will win this. So let's just go ahead and lock that in, right?
Okay.
That really narrows this down. We've got pretty much, we're going to see how this group locks out at this point, right?
So it's like a no-loss scenario on a game show? Life is like a game show.
That would be somebody who just got home from work. Don't mind him.
I'm the only disembodied voice around here, damn it.
He can't hear you. I have headphones on, but I'll make sure the comment gets relayed. All right, so looking at this, please make sure that we put this little tool here in the description of the show, so our viewers at home or our listeners at home, excuse me, can follow along with us.
It will be added to the audio description when posted in proper podcast feeds later today.
And I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier. So 100 Thieves takes the win over DFM, right? That's, like I said, that's a no-brainer. DFM has not been looking good. Again, at DFM 100%, they are eliminated out of the tournament. They're looking to play spoiler, and I don't think they're going to be doing very good at it. If we look at how the scenarios have shaken up, nobody still has a lock on first place in this group, which is kind of shocking. But the biggest thing is, at this point, at least statistically speaking, let's look at all of the scenarios on the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to a tiebreaker. Like you've pretty much, there's quite a few scenarios left where we see a tiebreaker happen. So there's not that much green left on the board.
Accounting for, or even taking away DFM, because they've got all 4 reds.
Yeah.
You've got 5 combined scenarios to where everything's settled. Now you're down to 5 scenarios with a tiebreaker. And of those 5...
So let's go ahead and eliminate DFM then, right? DFM, they have to play back-to-back games. They're going up against Faker. Faker is going to say, bye-bye Japan, right? So let's go ahead and knock this down to 100 Thieves versus EDG, which is actually going to be a pretty fucking important game. Just like we had Rogue versus FPX as the game-defining, or the group-defining game for Group A. 100 Thieves versus EDG looks like it's going to be the game-defining game or the group-defining game for Group B. So let's look at the scenarios here, right? We got 8 scenarios left on the board. Or sorry, we have 4 scenarios left on the board?
1, 2. Well, yeah, because at this point, you've only got that one game left.
Yeah. So, 100 Thieves versus EDG. This is the I'm crazy, my 60-something% by my 65% prediction rate, lethal doses of gigacopium says shoot the max. There's a game show reference for you. As another disembodied voice tries to pop in here.
Again, no, this sort of gimmick infringement is not allowed. I'm making
viewer says stop the gimmick infringement.
I'm the only disembodied voice around here.
For those of you who can't tell who that is in the background, that would be Jonathan Nielsen, aka JTN 2002 from Life is Like a Game Show here on the W2M network, which I'm also a proud part of. More on that later. Anyways, moving back along here. So Gigacopium says shoot the max. Let's let 100 Thieves win this game, right? So let's take a look at what happens if 100 Thieves win this game. Let's lock it in.
Oh,
it's a tiebreaker. It's a 3-way tiebreaker for first.
Again, although for first this time, but a 3-way tiebreaker again. Second straight day.
Yeah. Now, if EDG wins this, it's a lock for the 100 Thieves gets eliminated and EDG T1 advance.
And more importantly, not just with advance, EDG wins that one, they lock up the first seed.
Yes.
They would be 5-1 versus a 4-2 day.
Yeah, 100 Thieves actually has to 3. NA looks like overwhelmingly NA needs to 3-0 this week in every team in every group. We're gonna talk about Group C and Group D a little bit here. Obviously, we're gonna cover these in depth and talk about predictions like we are today after each day. But yeah, so 100 Thieves has to win this EDG game, right? Because that's the only way they stay in this tournament. Like they win the next 3, they get into that really sucky situation where even by winning the next 3, they end up in a tiebreaker, right? Now, let's roll the tape back here a little bit and let's talk about some upsets, right? Let's say instead of EDG winning that first game, DFM wins it, right?
Okay.
Doesn't do much for DFM's hopes of staying in the tournament, but let's say DFM pick up they pull an upset, right? Because again, after today, stranger shit has happened. If EDG takes a 3-0 day or an 0-3 day, which is entirely possible, that actually puts EDG into that one scenario where they lose without a tiebreaker and they're gone. And it puts 100 Thieves through as the second seed.
Well, yeah, because they would be 4-2. Oh, interesting.
So if DFM managed to play mega upset, right? Oh man, that makes the group really interesting, and that puts EDG into must-win scenarios. Now, let's say DFM pull that upset, but we go back to that 100 Thieves versus EDG game, right? This is the game. This is the group decider, honestly. If EDG wins that, right? That knocks out 100 Thieves. And that locks it in for T1, assuming all of our other predictions so far hold. Now, let's play some spoilers even further, right? Let's say EDG versus T1, right? Third game of the day. EDG walks in. They're like, you know what? We got upset by DFM. We're gonna stomp the absolute crap out of Faker, and they win, right? That actually bodes out pretty well for 100 Thieves, and gives them a shot at a tiebreaker for second with T1. And they will play, and I believe they play a tiebreaker game to find out who goes through. At the end of the day, I'm rooting for Chaos.
That's my boy. You've learned.
We got the Chaos out of we got the Chaos today, right? Freaking just out of nowhere. Boom. Cloud9 with a 2% chance, and less than 2% chance. And they freaking they showed up. I'm going back to that 3-way tie. EDG wins DFM. 100 Thieves wins T1. T1 wins EDG. 100 Thieves versus 100 Thieves wins out over DFM and EDG. So you switch up DFM versus EDG there. And then 100 Thieves at the end. And you got it. And there's our 3-way tie. And then we get, again, another 2 games. And we just... Worlds becomes, yes, we're having 8 game days every day through the entirety of play-ins and groups. We're not going to have non-8 game days until we get to quarterfinals. You're welcome. Then, let's see. We can actually seed out the tiebreaker, right? So, EDG has head-to-head over everybody.
So they would be ready and waiting in that second.
They would, yeah, EDG. Well, actually, no, they go 0-3. So they're 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
They're 1-1 on head-to-head against everybody.
Okay.
Because they have to go 0-3, right?
Mm-hmm.
T1. Let's look at T1 here. They lost to EDG, but they beat They beat 100 Thieves, so they have head-to-head over 100 Thieves.
Well, because for T1, in this case, if they only lose to 100 Thieves, then they would be 1-1 at least against 100 Thieves.
No, they would be. Oh yeah, they'd be 1-1 to 100 Thieves as well. So they're also 1-1, but they're not 1-1 to EDG though.
So they would have a combined head-to-head record amongst these 3 teams of 3-1.
Yeah.
Whereas EDG would be sitting at 2-2.
To the rules.
Because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, all right, so 100 Thieves, they lost to T1, and then they would beat T1, so that's 1-1.
The amount of times I've pulled up this
They lost
rule
to
book.
EDG, and then they would have beat EDG, so they would be sitting 2-2. EDG would be sitting at 2-2.
Yeah, because they're seeded. The seeding for tiebreakers is based on the head-to-head record, not the overall record.
Yeah,
right?
I'm accounting for head-to-head record between the 3 teams. T1 would be head-to-head between EDG and 100 Thieves.
Right.
T1 would be 3-1.
Okay, so there's one team is 3-1, the next team is 2-2, and the third team is 1-3, right? That's pretty much the only scenario that plays out here.
Oh, because 100 Thieves only beat DFM. They lost to EDG in T1, so then they would beat them. So EDG and 100 Thieves would be sitting at 2-2. Yes. 3-1, 2-2, 2-2. Those are your respective three-way head-to-head records under this scenario.
Are you sure? Because they don't have a thing in the rule book for that. The thing in the rule book says aggregate record is 3-1, 2-2, and 1-3.
So how they would have to do it, at least if I am got my interpretations of the rules and stuff right.
Here, I'm going to send this to you because I don't know if you still have it. And you can even pull this up on screen. It says if one team has an aggregate record of 3-1, the next team is 2-2, and the third team is 1-3. The teams with the 2-2 and 1-3 records will play a tiebreaker game. The loser of that game is awarded the lowest standing. The winner of that game plays a tiebreaker against the 3-1 team.
Same rules would apply. Since EDG and 100 Thieves would be 2-2 again into that three-way tiebreak, they would play each other. Loser is out.
Yeah.
Third place. The winner would then play T1. Winner's first, loser is second.
So who's playing the first tiebreaker game? I'm sorry.
EDG and 100 Thieves. Because
Ooh.
EDG, in this case, they've already got wins against 100 Thieves and T1 going into the final day. They would lose both of those games. So they would be 2-2 against those two. 100 Thieves lost to EDG and T1. They would pick up 2 wins. They would be sitting at 2-2. Whereas with T1, they would have beaten DFM. They lost. Oh, crap. I read the wrong one. Oh, no.
Are they all 2-2?
Yes. You would have a 2-2 circle of death. I fucked up in reading which one.
Okay.
You would have a 2-2 circle of death.
So here's the tiebreaker rules for that, right? In this case, the teams with the highest total game victory time. So the 2 slowest teams.
Oh, God. You'd have to break out the clock.
Yeah.
The 2 slowest teams would play each other for essentially
and side selection
and third.
And side selection, which is very important here, goes to the team with the faster time.
Okay.
The loser of that game is out.
Yep. Loser of that game would be out in third place.
The winner of that game plays the fastest team. And then the winner of that second tiebreaker the winner of that second tiebreaker gets second. Or sorry. The winner of the second tiebreaker game will be awarded the highest standing being decided by the tiebreaker and the loser of the game. So yeah, so it's So slowest plays second slowest. Or slowest plays middle. Winner plays fastest team. Winner of that goes on.
Well, because how would it work? Well, yeah. Well, however, not necessarily. The middle plays slowest. Side selection going to the middle.
Yeah.
Loser of that one is out in third because you've got a 3-way tie at the top.
Right.
Then the winner of that game plays the fastest team. Fastest gets side selection. They're battling for who wins the group.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense because this is a tie for the top, not a tie for the bottom.
Correct. Because again, DFM would be out.
So basically, really, the tiebreaker is going to. The tiebreaker, the first tiebreaker game basically these teams, they got to play fast tomorrow, right? Because
Yes.
if there's a possibility of a 3-way tie and that gets broke by, game time, these teams got to play fast.
Yeah, because then in that case,
And
if you don't play fast enough, you're in that win or go home first tiebreak.
Which actually benefits T1 tremendously because Korea is the home of the fast-paced meta. They get lull states, don't get me wrong, but Korea plays fast games. So I think T1 might get the edge there if we have to go to the clock. Which, oh man, that's way too much entropy and chaos in tomorrow's.
I love it. Everybody break out your watches.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Break out your watches.
Pay very close attention to that game clock tomorrow as these teams play, because that might come back to bite them in the ass at the end of the day. Because pretty much, yeah, whoever has to play in that first tiebreaker game quite literally is a winner goes home, because they'll be in third and they're eliminated, and then they'll play that. They will still play that second tiebreaker, to find out who's winning the group, because again, that is seeding.
Yeah, just double checking and putting this on screen briefly. I just got to go back to the right page. And again, for audio only listeners, the link to this PDF.
I'll read it out.
Okay.
I don't mind. Section 6.4.5 of the official 2021 rule book. For 3-way ties, if 3 teams are tied, the head-to-head record of all teams involved in the tie against all other teams involved in the tiebreaker will be considered. There are 5 possible combinations of records in a 3-way tiebreaker, each of which are considered below. For our purposes, we only need to talk about the 2-2-1.
The circle of death.
Yes. Each team in the tiebreaker has a combined record of 2-2 against each of the other teams in the tie. In this case, the team with the highest total game victory time, read as the 2 slowest teams, will play 1 tiebreaker game with side selection going to the team with the lower total game victory time, meaning the faster team. The loser of that game will be awarded the lowest standing being decided by the tiebreaker, which in this case would be 3rd place. And the winner of that game will play a single tiebreaker game against the team with the lowest total game victory time, aka the fastest team out of the 3, with side selection going to the team with the lower total game victory time. Again, the fastest team. The winner of that second tiebreaker game will be awarded the highest standing being decided by the tiebreaker, which in this case is first in the group. And the loser of the game will be awarded the remaining standing, which would be second.
Yo, dog, I heard you like tiebreakers.
Yeah, that's... Hey, I'll be able to keep up my 8 times tables, and, we'll go to 40 games instead of, 36. Or, sorry, 38. Wow, I can't add today, apparently. I can multiply just fine. I can figure out percentage rates just fine. I can't fucking add, apparently. Yeah, we'll go to 40 games instead of 38. Oh, man. But
so about you and sleep.
Yeah. Oh, I better I'm about to go sleep now and make sure my happy ass is up at 6 a.m. Speaking of being up at 6 a.m, that was for almost for naught today. Unfortunately, we've got some good news and some bad news that came out of Riot.
You want to pull up send me that tweet so I can pull that up on the screen?
Yeah, give me a moment here.
Sure.
And we'll read it out so we don't have to include it in the thing here. But unfortunately, there was a tweet this morning out of the LOL Esports official account. Due to a potential COVID-19 exposure to a member of the crew.
Bad news, everyone.
They did cancel the pre-show and started an hour later and went straight into the first game of the day. The potential exposures, they were tested. The statement is actually, I'll just read the statement as follows. Hello, World's 2021 enthusiasts. Due to a potential COVID-19 exposure to a member of our crew, we will need to cancel the pre-show and move the broadcast start time to 1 p.m. Central European Standard Time today. While we are waiting for additional results to come back, we have isolated cast and crew who have been first contacts. Dracos and Kadra will bring you game coverage with a reduced broadcast crew, so make sure you cheer them on.
One minor correction, Central European summertime. Their version of daylight saving.
I thought it was standard.
Nope, summer. Like British summertime,
I was close.
European summer. Well, it's actually, you weren't, because it's the opposite. Because whereas we switch over from Eastern Standard to Eastern Daylight, come October 31st, they will be switching from Central European summer to just Central European.
Well,
Let
the good
that
news
sink in for a minute.
Yeah. Good news. After the first game today, they were able to come on broadcast and announce that the test results came back negative. Everybody is safe, no COVID exposure, and they were able to get back to full staff.
Yeah, they'll just have to be sure for continued testing, because I remember just some months ago at the curling championships where a similar incident happened.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they're going to continue testing, and they're being very strict about COVID protocols. I mean, they even wrote them into the rule book this year, which was nice to see. So, again, the biggest news of the day, my God, Cloud9, man. Like, I still can't get over that.
The odds, the scenes, all the scenes.
Like I tweeted in the middle of that game, I'm like, this game is going to give me a heart attack or anxiety attack or panic attack or some goddamn health condition by the time it's over. Because that's what that whole series was. It was crazy. That's what it was. As I posted halfway through the one, I went to my good old Simpsons memes here. Long have we raided, rest of Group A abated, miracle run activated. What a time to be alive. And I think Group A really did get debated, because, again, group of death, and this happens. So, we've dived in about as much as we can, I think, honestly, into Group B without, turning this into a, already more than an hour-long show. I think we're in for another very interesting group tomorrow. Again, I want to see the chaos. I would love to see, as much as I want to root for DFM and, hey, congratulations, your, wild card region that made it to groups for the first time ever. They don't have the competitive ability to remain at this tier. I want to see the upset, right? I mean, you've got the number one North American. By the way, yeah, Cloud9 was the number 3 seed out of North America. They got out of group stage and they came in. They had to play their way through play-ins.
Yeah.
Like, Cloud9 has the most games under their belt out of anybody in this tournament right now.
I mean, this is actually very apt. Tiebreakers equal more matches. More matches means more podcasting. More podcasting means less sleep for you.
Thank you, disembodied. I mean, not disembodied, but a fellow co-host of Life is Like a Game show.
And wannabe disembodied voice.
But you missed some very interesting mathematical breakdowns earlier there, sir. We were talking percentages. Cloud9, right? So listen to this. There was 64 possible outcomes, 2 to the 6th power of outcomes in the group today, right? There was 2 out of 64, so break that down to 1 out of 32 chance of a favorable outcome for Cloud9. Whether it's a tiebreaker or straight advancement. A roughly 3.5% chance, right? They did it. The specific scenario that played out, it was a 1.56% chance of it happening. Cloud9 pulled off the upset in the tiebreakers. Like, I can't get over that. Especially in the group of death.
And if you thought that was something, I'm already playing through. Hate to break it to you. You got this potential with the 3-way tiebreaker with Group B.
Right.
The potential with the 3-way tiebreaker for Group C.
Oh, no. Okay, let's talk about Group C real quick, because that Group C's got Fnatic in it, right? We'll cover this really quick. I don't want to go too, and we'll take Group C in depth tomorrow after Group B finishes. But let's do a quick, like, just pull up the seed maker there, the permutation analyzer back up on screen there. Whatever you want to call it. I don't. The table. Let's get that full screen back up, and let's. Okay, so you've got the chaos up and running.
Damn right I do.
Tiebreaker.
Damn right I do.
I am saying Fnatic pulls the reverse sweep, right? So let's just go ahead and give the 3 Fnatic games their wins. Right? It still don't look good for Fnatic. They pretty much go into tiebreak. They pretty much are in tiebreaker hell.
Oh, yeah. The only scenario where they cannot go 3-0 I'll reset this one.
The only scenario where they can't go 3-0 and still have a shot at getting out is if they lose to RNG, which is actually good, because if there's one team where they really need the cushioning leeway to lose against, it's RNG.
Uh-oh. Bryan, you should not have shown me this. You should not have shown me this.
You
see what's highlighted there, right?
Yeah. RNG going 0-3. And you get a 4-way tiebreaker.
Uh-huh.
Which, let's go back to the rule book, shall we? A 4-way tie. The teams will be drawn into a single elimination bracket based on cumulative game victory time for the individual teams. So they're going to add up all 3 games. Actually, I think they're going to add up all 6 games.
Yeah, they would have to. For a 4-way tie, they'd have to add up all 6.
Yeah.
Break out your damn calculators.
they're gonna add up. The game. I can't even say this with a straight face.
I can. They're going to add up all of the game times for all of the games in the group. And then that's
you can't even say it with the straight
I'm
face.
on assignment.
That's
Be
just
careful.
that's just step one. Once they do that, they have to sort out those times and create their bracket. Then you create the bracket 1v4, 2v3, play on.
1v4, 2v3, and the losing teams from both go home.
And then the winner of that essentially tie-break final, the bracket final, winner gets top seed, loser gets the second seed.
I thought we were planning this kind of upset for Group D.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mentioned Group D. Oh, wait, what do we have here?
All right. Well, realistically speaking, right? So let's say Fnatic go 2-1 and they drop that game to RNG to force a tiebreaker, right? You've got a 3-way tie.
Again.
Which means let's look at the results through the group for this magical scenario to happen, right? Hanwha Life, aka Chovy Life Esports, has to beat PSG Talon. Probable. Possible. Definitely not out of the question, but also not guaranteed. Call that a coin flip. RNG versus Fnatic. Again, if there's one team that Fnatic has to be able to afford to lose to, it's this one. Right? Mm-hmm. But also, it's the first, look at the order. It's the first game of the day.
Yep.
Fnatic's got to be careful. Really, Fnatic needs the win, because if they don't win here, they're going to think, we're fucked, we're out of the tournament. Unless their coach is doing this deep dive like we're doing. But they've got to be sitting there thinking, oh, we're fucked. They're not in a good mental. How the hell do they go 2-0 over PSG and Hanwha Life, right?
Mm-hmm.
RNG, they're going to 3-0 their day. They take down PSG in easy fashion, right? That gives them a chance. Keeps Fnatic in the ballgame. Fnatic, they play their back-to-back. Actually, no, the Fnatic doesn't have to play back-to-back games. Thank goodness for that. Fnatic plays Hanwha Life, and they finally find it. It all clicks. It fires on all 900 cylinders. Bean shows up. It's Bean o'clock, and they win. Let's make it a nice, good statement, definitive win at that. Hope is still alive for them. Hanwha Life has to play RNG. Again, RNG's going 3-0. They're the powerhouse. They're my favorite for the tournament. Nothing's stopping them. Fnatic goes up against PSG. They beat PSG. We're in a 3-way tie.
So, there's the realistic chaos, and there's the ultimate chaos. Either way, I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too. Now, let's just say, right, because stranger things have happened in this tournament, and stranger things have happened with Fnatic in the past. Let's say they upset RNG tomorrow, right? If Fnatic go 3-0 tomorrow, and the rest of our predictions hold up, right? Let's say Fnatic goes 3-0 and RNG goes 2-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Hanwha Life choke and they only beat out PSG, they're done. They're eliminated. If PSG choke and go 0-3, they're done. This group is a hell of a toss-up because you have the bottom 0-3 seed can go 3-0 and advance over the 2-1-2 teams. Or sorry, a 1-2 and a 2-1. There's your EU copium right there. If you are a Fnatic fan, that is what you are hoping for. You are hoping that Fnatic pulls the magic reverse sweep card out of the deck, which again, Fnatic's done before at Worlds. You don't have to worry about RNG, right? RNG takes one loss. That's fine. RNG's got to lose sometime. Everybody in this tournament's got to lose sometime, right? We have never had a single undefeated champion in the World's tournament. Every single team that has ever played in Worlds and won has dropped at least one game somewhere. RNG's got to lose sometime, right? Fuck it. Let's let them lose to Fnatic.
I'm telling you, the next few days in store
are going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to go too far into the rest of this group bracket because then that kind of kills our content for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Group B, like I said, let's take a look. I want to go back to. Let's scroll back up to Group B here. We're gonna finalize our predictions one more time. I like to see DFM upset EDG in this group. I want to see 100 Thieves win. I want to see T1 win. And just EDG go 0-3. DFM get one win in this tournament and make it a nice upset win. And that's going to actually eliminate EDG out of the tournament, and it's going to send 100 Thieves and T1 through.
Yep, T1. So that would be, in that case, if they only lose to 100 Thieves, so that would be a 2-1 day. They'd be 4-2. And then that would be a 4-2 day. And
yeah, they both advance, and then it's a two-way tie where they use head-to-head for tiebreaker,
which would be a split.
And if they have an identical head-to-head record, they'll play one tiebreaker game to determine the final standings. No tiebreaker game will be played if it would not decide either the first or second place position in the group. So they'll play it. They'll play a tiebreaker. They both advance, guaranteed, right? That's why the dot
they
is
would
green.
be 4-2.
We still get a tiebreaker game to figure out who gets the number one seed.
Correct, because of that head-to-head split.
And then whoever finishes faster, because game time, that's the thing. Between the head-to-head, for the head-to-head matchups, not the whole fucking thing. Thank God.
Yeah.
We'll find out who gets the side selection, which is honestly that's important, because if you can get first pick, if you get red side's obviously the stronger side in League of Legends. You want red side. So if you can get that side selection, you pretty much can control whether or not you win the game or not.
So again, keep your eye on the clock.
But I think that's going to do it for today's episode of League to the Max or whatever. Because apparently that's the new name of the show after it was voted on yesterday on Life is Like a Game Show. My name is Bryan Espinoza. I want to thank you guys for listening and for staying tuned to our coverage. Hopefully tomorrow we have some more amazing games, another amazing group stage. Like I said, I'm just my sincerest congratulations go out to the Cloud9 team. Jack, you and the boys are just you go buy them a nice steak dinner. I'm not bullshitting. Like you take them boys out someplace nice. You got like the next like 5-6 days of downtime.
Where the hell would you get a steak dinner in Reykjavik?
I don't the hell if I know. There's got to be a hotel that's got a good steak in it. You know. But the point is, take them to a nice dinner. Give the boys a day off. You can afford to take a half a day off. Get your film ready. Like
well, I'll be damned. They do have places.
They because you don't know who you're facing, right? So keep an eye. Make sure you're watching. Make sure your players are watching the games tomorrow. That and through the rest of the week. Obviously, you want to practice, you want to scrim, but make sure you're watching the games. That's going to be important. Like clearly somebody did some research today. Make sure you keep that up through quarters. I want to see Cloud9 go to semis. 100%. I want to see it happen. This is the year where North America says, "Hey, shut the fuck up. We are good."
So basically, kind of like back in the day, the whole Outcast, Andre 3000, the South's got something to say kind of moment.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
See, remember, folks, Dr. Manhattan is a man of the people. I will throw in all kinds of references.
And I actually got that.
But I figured you would.
I was going to say, you know why.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, do your research, Cloud9. Please, for the love of God, do the research. Mithy is a fucking drafting god after today, but you got to do the research. Keep an eye on things. I'm still, like I said, I'm still hoping for 100 Thieves tomorrow. I'm rooting for them. Obviously, we don't have any vested interest in Group C as far as North American teams, but we do have a European team over there. We've got Fnatic. That's going to be an interesting shake up on Sunday. Monday we got Group D. I think we're a little bit too far out to talk about them too much, but as I've been saying the entire tournament, Group D is definitely, at least before what happened today, was the major hope of a Western team getting out of group stage.
You have your particular interest. Me, I am keeping my vested interest in chaos in all forms.
But yeah, like I said, it's going to be an interesting remainder of the group stage. The first round robin, the results have left us with a lot of chaos left to go. In this tournament. Definitely stick around. If these are short days, you might see us going live closer to the end of the broadcast day rather than, late Eastern Standard U.S. time, late nights. So
now with days like today, if there is a whole bunch of chaos and major events, then like today, on top of being live on our Facebook Live page at W2M Network, being live on Twitch, twitch.tv/W2Mnet, being live on Twitter at W2M Network, if it warrants, we will be live on YouTube, youtube.com, search W2M Network.
Yes, definitely. And of course, you can always find us on your favorite preferred podcast platform. We have Spreaker. I can only remember Spreaker, Podbean, Spotify, Apple. There's more. W2M Network.
Stitcher, Spreaker, Podbean, Castbox, Overcast, Apple Pods, Google Pods, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and there's plenty of others.
Yes, and we do have an official Discord server. You can look for that as well. I believe there's a link on the website. You can come and talk to me live as these games actually happen. If you don't want to engage with me on Twitter, which is at the Andesian, you can see me having a heart attack and having my life flash before my eyes.
That's where you go to your dark Twitter to relieve stress.
Yes, those also exist. You can message our disembodied producer here. Where can they find you at?
They can find me on Twitter at Squid Sportshead. That's going to be the main place because, again, as a disembodied voice, I don't give the full promo. However, if you wanted to get to my dark Twitter and other things, slide into my DMs. Y'all should know about the vetting process.
Yeah, I mean, we make it pretty clear, yes. But that's going to wrap it up for us here today at League to the Max or whatever. My name's been Bryan Espinoza on behalf of W2M Network and my co-host and producer here. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.